Hey there team. So this is actually the first battle that I've done for Silmarillion Total War, as the title should suggest, I suspect. This battle was put up by Umad a few days ago, and firstly I guess a just flat out public service announcement. I really like my videos getting, well, my battles getting put up by other YouTubers. So this is mainly going out to like Scout and Umad, but it also goes out to people that are in games with me. You know, if you've played a game with me, don't think you can't send it to somebody. Definitely do, because if you do, let me know so that because what I will like to do is I'll actually hold off on doing the replay until somebody else has put it up. So it means that I can go and I can watch their video, I can see what they're thinking and saying about my play, and then I can go back to my video and it gives me something to think about. So this will be done very much in the what was I thinking style. So that means I'm going to be focusing almost entirely on myself and everything that is revolving around me and my push and my army. I'm not really going to be paying too much attention to what's going on with my allies or on the other side of the battlefield. So this is a big, like, I'm sure the vast majority of people have, but if you have not watched Umad's video, do that first, because you will definitely not know what's going on totally. This is going to be very similar to, I did a Dale Siege a few weeks ago with Scouts, with a video that was on Scouts channel, and so it's that sort of deal, you know. So this was definitely not my first Silmarillion battle. I was actually going to be doing a sort of a first impressions of Silmarillion, in which I was going to go through my first few 1v1s and 3-man free-for-alls that I got done on my first day of playing. But I decided, since this had just been put up, I was wanting to get through this first. So that's why we've gone for it. So this definitely wasn't my first time, but this was my first time playing as the Dominion of Tolan Garhoth. This is going to be tough for me, but I better start trying to pronounce these words, or it's just never going to make it. So it's going to be pretty horrendous, and I'm all I can say is sorry about that. So I've gone for the Hispokras Hunters. 2 units of them at the back here. They don't have a shield, they've got terrible armor, but I just felt they're plebs that can take arrows for me. And when I'm attacking an Elven Fortress, that's really what I want. I've got my Ash Priests here, put my General in with them. They're really the only solid, like by solid, elite unit of infantry that I've got. And they can throw they've got their little black balls containing this fire energy that they can spit out at people. In front of them I've got 2 Scarahai Trappers there, really just to hurl out some javelins onto the enemy front lines. Hopefully, I'm hoping to face off against some of those pikes, because I have played as both of these factions that we're opposing here, so I do have a decent idea of what's in their armies. The Scarahai Blood Drinkers, really just there because of their high damage, and I knew that neither of the factions we were up against had great armor, but I just felt like, yeah, I wanted to grab something that was going to be able to do some damage to them, and also for those Ents. Then in front of them, the Scarahai Longfangs, they were going to make the sort of the bulk of my attack. I knew they weren't going to be racking up too many kills, but I felt that, yeah, they're shielded. They've got some semblance of armor, and they've got that little axe that they can just sort of hack into people with. So really just sort of mass approach. In front of them, I've got the Hispokras Howlers. Now these guys were, really lightly armored, but what attracted me to them big time was their locked morale. I knew I could just throw them into a situation, and I didn't really have to worry if it went bad. You know, they're going to die, but they're not going to be running away, and they're not going to be causing a mass rout to my army. So I've gotten 4 units off them there. And no, I was going to say I've given them a melee upgrade, but I definitely haven't done that. I don't think I could afford that. I went all out for numbers today. And then I've gone for the Chakskaras, Chosen, and then also next to the Wolf Guard there. So the Wolf Guard, again, they're an AP unit. But I really felt that with the Dominion, I'm kind of lacking in like solid melee units, and guys that can really go toe to toe with the elves, and these Wolfguard were kind of the, even though they were AP and I knew that wouldn't be super effective, I just felt, yeah, they'll be my men at arms for the front line. Then also, because I just didn't really want to sit and read through the stats of all of the wargs, I decided to just grab the cheapest unit, which I'm told that is AP, supposedly. So that's quite nice too. And but primarily they're just there in case the enemies, the green elves, have some cavalry that they want to throw out at us. I can grab them with my wargs. I can protect my allies too. You know, that's something that I'm taking over from Reforged. I always like to just grab a unit of melee cavalry, no matter what is happening. If I'm attacking, I'm most likely going to be taking a unit of melee cavalry just to be safe. Setting up here, I didn't really feel under threat. I was pretty happy to just deploy in this bunched up formation. They can deploy up there, you know, all the way in this forest, and facing off against the green elves, I knew that was a big risk, but I just generally felt I've got the wargs. If they do something like that, I can probably punish them more than they've done damage to me. I can grab them with the wargs, I can swarm them and just wipe them out. So I won't go through my allies' armies, because, you know, I'll cast my eyes over them, but I won't really go too into them. The Ash Priests, some Chosen, and the Wolfguard, again, kind of similar to my thinking probably. The Blood Drinkers, the Long Fangs, again, the Scarhide Long Fangs, and the Hispokras Howlers. He's going for a Mangonel though. I don't like artillery, but you know, hey, yep, it's a pretty solid choice, I think. The Hispokras Howlers there again, and some Hunters up front. And then lastly, over here, actually, no, because we've got a lot of walking, so we'll leave it on 1 speed. Over here, we have the Sons of Feanor, who's got, well, you know, we'll hopefully have seen that and know what they've got, because everything's hidden right now. The Catapult there as well. So both my allies have artillery, but as I say, it's just not in my nature to take artillery. I don't like it all that much. I think that it can rack up tremendous kills when used properly, but I don't use it properly too much, and I don't enjoy using it properly. You know, that's kind of the thing. So it's all generally down to what I like to play like. So yeah, over here we've got the Elves of Osarnad. Yeah, Osarnad. Oh yeah, no. Let's try that again. So the Elves of Osiriand. Yeah, the Elves of Osiriand. Cool. And I kind of felt, because this is a faction that I've actually mucked about with quite a bit. I've mucked about them when a few 1v1s up against AI, and then also I've done one full 1v1 against a player. Up against Blindness, I think it was. Yeah, pretty sure it was Blindness that I played against. And so I knew what they had in their roster. And I did immediately think, right, I've got a lot of AP, and I know that they're not heavily armoured, but I just kind of, you know, I liked the idea of attacking here, and I always think that trying to swap places with someone is just never going to work. So this is where I was. This is where I'm going to push into. You know, really unfortunate about the rain. You know, I had that happen in another siege that I was playing today on Reforged. The rain just immediately set in. It was just like, dang it. But yeah, I wish we could control that, but we just can't. So now this was really just a lack of battlefield awareness for me. You know, Umad noticed immediately sort of how much of Urukai's army is over here facing off against me. It's pretty much all of it, and I just didn't click with that. I saw everything, and I was looking at the minimap. You know, there's a bulge there, there's a bulge there, and there's a bulge here. You know, it's all about even, right? And I guess I was so focused on immediately planning out my attack. You know, I was viewing, you know, how am I going to be assaulting this position? I was dividing up my army in my mind, when I really should have been casting my eyes over, you know, what was positioned elsewhere, and really sort of working out that maybe, yeah, I had a lot of boys facing off against me. But even then, that's kind of the situation I like to be in a lot of the time in a siege and in a field battle. I like to, maybe it's a bit masochistic of me, but like I like to have a pretty tough time of it, and kind of be the sacrifice for my team. You know, that's a very satisfying thing for me to do. I often think I'm quite good at it. You know, I'm always sort of quite good at sort of holding attention and making sure my guys last long enough for the job to be done elsewhere. But so if I had known that, I probably wouldn't have changed much about my strategy in the beginning anyway. But yeah, that was something that I really didn't notice until the later stage of the battle, that I was actually going against so much. Now, also in addition to that, the green elves have so much of their army hidden. So when I was looking at it, you know, yeah, you can tell there's a lot over against me, but you know, they have some hidden men up in this corner here, and they have a few others sort of dotted around the forest, and I really just yeah, I wasn't able to really tell just how much was facing off against me. So I had never really used the rangers though, but that's more just because I never really seem to use body piercing to its full effect in Reforged, so I hadn't actually touched this unit, but I did know it existed, and I was concerned for it for sure. But yeah, so my original plan here, as always, lead with the archers, because you know that's what I've taken them for. I've taken them to take a pounding so that the forces behind can hopefully not. But had I known just how much was up there, just trying to use up his ammunition is not really something I can do. You know, you often get that when you're fighting armies like Dale in a field battle or in a siege, where you try and feed your fodder at them, and it's just like, yeah, use up some of their ammo, use up some of their ammo, use up some of their ammo, and then we'll get them as soon as they're out of ammo, we'll strike. But armies like, as I say, armies like Dale or armies like Mirkwood, they just keep coming. You know, they've got so many archers, and then by the time you've kind of realized that they've got enough ammunition, you've already lost half of your fodder, and you can no longer just lunge at them. So yeah, if I had known that, if I had thought about it a bit more, then maybe I wouldn't have actually sort of gone for this strategy. I would have held back. I would have held back at least for a little while to just see what was going on in the other parts of the battlefield. Not the trebuchet, the mangonel is thrown off some barrels here, but it seems to be unlucky. It's quite nice that fire can actually do damage, so I guess you could use it as like area denial, you know. It's like if because right now he couldn't move up his troops to there, but of course it goes away, so it goes away before very long, so wouldn't be the end of the world. Well, that tower is probably gonna, you know, get in the way of a few of their shots. But yeah, so the House of Finnafar, I've only played as them once in a 1v1 up against I think his name is Japner or something like that, and so mucked about with him as them, and the lack of cavalry entirely is very frightening to me. But as I say, I'll come to that more in my general impressions video that I'll do next for Silmarillion. I won't talk about that too much here. So as I say, my hunters come up forward, and I see him firing straight away, and I think, fantastic. This is exactly what I want. I was actually going to be moving forward, but I didn't want to make his shot even better than it already is. So I was happy enough just staying here, letting him shoot at me at a kind of greater range. Now, I know elven accuracy is always going to be incredible. It doesn't matter how far away you're standing, you're gonna be taking damage. But I just didn't want to push it. Just like, yeah, if he's willing to shoot at me at his max range, do it. So he stopped after a volley or two. So I decided to get forward, and I'm looking at these targets here. These guys are of course much better in melee, but I love that bow. That looks great. These guys are much better in melee, and they are heavily armed. They've got much heavier armor, but they lack a shield, and you know, they're very important. So I did want to strike at them, but the tempting target of these scouts of Gelion is right there. So I go first for this force, actually, though. No, yeah, because what I was mainly wanting to do was just make sure I'm shooting at something that's not in spread out formation. So I think I'm actually going for the scouts of Gelion. At first, I think they were compact together, and I think I've just kind of let them continue to fire as they've spread out again. I am dropping one or two, but as I say, it's not being too successful. So I do swap targets between the scouts and oh yeah, I should probably try this again. So Erfina Tower. I swap targets a few times just because I'm wanting to really maximize the amount of hits I'm making. But with these really low damage arrows, these 4 green elves, heavily armored men, are going to be shrugging that damage off. So I've got my next unit of hunters. Now that we know they've not got any cav, I was still very worried, you know, because you could hide some cavalry right here or something like that. And maybe I should have had my wargs a bit further forward, because if a unit of cav just jumped out there, one charge against my hunters, they're wiped out. Another charge against my hunters. Oh, I do have my... Right. Nope, no, I was thinking. I was smart. I did have my wargs right in position just in case. Because when you're fighting the green elves, you really can't be too sure. So I was happy enough with how much ammunition of his I was using. You know, some of these guys... No, I was thinking they were holding their swords, but it's just their knives and their stomachs. You know, we don't really have the same amount of ammunition in units. I find a lot of our... in comparison to Reforged. So I was a bit more comfortable just letting this happen. And I felt, you know, if I can use up the entirety of that, even just that unit of scouts ammunition on this unit of hunters, I'm okay with that. Like, I've kind of just, they've done their purpose, so to say. You know, I'm going to be doing my damage very quickly when I come forward for a melee charge. I don't really care how many archers I lose. I'm very, just, it's, you know, my general strategy, my way of thinking. I'm very happy to lose archers, which is kind of silly of me sometimes. As I say, I kind of thought I was racking up at least a few more kills, but I'm really not being too successful here with these shots. Even though quite a bit is hitting. And you see I have changed my target over here. This is where the general is. This is actually what I do as well. I put my general in this smaller detachment unit whenever I play as these guys. Means you can use the 2 full ones a bit more freely. And the general has somebody half decent to look after him. And also give him AP in melee. It's kind of interesting. Was he trying to use his scouts as a shield there? But yeah, so he's obviously not too happy with me shooting at him. And he does fall back, but I've not actually dealt any casualties to them there. Ah, he's getting in the way of his shots, that's nice. But my Scarahide Trappers, I tried to push them up for 2 reasons. One, again, if I lose about half of a unit of Scarahide Trappers, I can still use up all of their ammunition quite comfortably. So this is kind of, again, another thing of like, hey, shoot at me. Another just sign that I'm very wasteful off my missile units. So, I get them up forward like that, and the way that I viewed it was, you know, they start at almost 200. I'm happy enough to lose down to about 80. But I got there, and I was trying to make a throw at these guys. And I did actually make that throw. But I don't think I took... a few of them have dropped, but I don't know if that was my archers or if that was my javelins. Yeah, because I did try and unload a javelin volley on these guys, because I would have been really wanted to see them drop. A few corpses there, so I have actually been somewhat successful with it, but not overly. These Hishperkraz hunters, I think, are the best archers that the Dominion has at their disposal. Pretty confident in saying that. I was kicking myself, though. I wish I had looked into the wargs more, because they've got some amazing sort of skirmishing wargs that I would have loved to have taken and just thrown some stuff into the front lines. So you can see my trappers dropped down to about 50, more of them than I was wanting to lose, but still, so I start trying to bolt them out, and they're continuing to drop. 40 is kind of definitely the lower end of what I would want to have with them, and they're still dropping. So happy enough to use up a bit of ammunition over here by these Scouts of Gellion, because you've got to see all of this damage that I've taken is from one unit of archers. Maybe a few little pot shots by others, but it's all by that one unit of Scouts of Gellion. So, you know, that was kind of concerning, just the amount of damage I had taken, and, you know, I wasn't even done yet. So I thought, right, he's really not getting aggressive with me, so why not just, get a perfect shot on his front line? I know these are spear hosts, they've got shields, they've got half-decent armor, you know, they've got something. But yeah. And I was happy enough to sort of continue that skirmish, but then I looked over at my allies here, and I see Waffles is actually starting a frontline engagement there, a soft level frontline engagement, but still it was an engagement. And I saw over here, you know, the Sons of Feanor are really getting stuck in properly, and I felt, cheapers, you know, my allies are, yeah, frontline here as well. Oh god, we've got, yeah, what are those? Those are the split shots, yeah. Yeah, I guess it is. It's just I've never, when you see split shots fired at such close range, they don't properly spread. Oh dear. Still hurts though. Yeah, those guys just getting rinsed there. But it's yeah, so I saw that all of, yeah, we're seeing Waffles is really coming in hard now. And that was starting to kind of shake me, because I was more than happy to just continue skirmishing. And now that I'm seeing all of that, I think, right, I need to get moving. Yeah, you can see in the corner here, my entire army is picking up and moving now. Even my wargs are coming forward. I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, oh dang, you know, my wargs are not going to be useful anymore, you know. They've got nothing to fight. So I kind of put my wargs forward a little bit, had them spread out. Kind of, I was going to be a bit careful with them, but if he does try and throw a quick volley at my wargs, it's okay. I'd rather he, at this point, you know, that was my thinking. I'd rather he tries to shoot a volley at my wargs rather than shoots a volley at, you know, my howlers even. Perhaps that is a bit silly. But no, so I get my trappers. This is my full unit of untouched trappers, and I felt kind of good, you know. They've not really taken any damage, so it means he is kind of getting a bit more careful with his ammo. He's used up a fair bit, but we're seeing these hunters are still taking damage, and I'm really coming forward pretty hard now. I've got my trappers here just unloading onto his front line. They're throwing off their axes, actually. I thought they were, oh wait, no, okay, cool. So yeah, just coming into the spear host there and just wanting to drop down as many as I can. Maybe I should have pushed forward a little bit deeper and struck at these guys, the more important guys behind. But saying that, the more important guys are armor piercing, which is similar to the Elves of Assyria, and I don't wear armor either. So so I was happy enough with that, and then I actually got a quick volley on these guys with them. It looks like maybe a few javelins went into here, yeah, because we would have seen a lot more casualties. Yeah. No, that does look like it was coming in okay, but we're just not seeing these guys drop from it. But as I say, I knew that they were a threat, so I started to fire away at them with my archers. We're seeing a lot of them dropped from the archer fire. These men have moved right back up again. They have actually got their axes out, which makes me think that they unloaded shots on me. They probably did. But as I say, since everybody else is engaging, I'm wanting to run forward my howlers and get forward my wolfguard alongside them. Wolfguard kind of there as the... Well, these wolfguard got torn to pieces, as you can see, by archer fire. That was probably what these guys were rattling into. So I kind of thought, yeah, I know I'm fighting uphill, but my howlers have got their two axes, and they're fighting up against a spearman unit. And not an exceptional quality spearman unit. I still expected to lose against these elves, but I thought, yeah, I'll hurt them. And that locked morale is going to mean that fight is going to be okay to happen for a little while. I don't have to worry about reinforcing it immediately. So I wasn't coming in as strong as I maybe should have. I think probably as soon as I made the choice to attack, I should have gone for it and gone for it hard. So that was probably a bit of a fault. And he comes and he rattles into my howlers here, yeah, and I'm kind of just letting him do it. Yeah, it took me far too long to sort of see that. And but as I say, the howlers are quite cheap, and they're not. Their stats aren't great. The main draw of them is the fact that they are locked morale. So the fact that I've taken a lot of damage to one unit, I wasn't overly upset about it. But it still wasn't fun, so I've spread the rest of these guys out, because I do need them. Don't really want to make a push here. These trappers have used up their ammo. Done a bit of damage, but that still can just jump together and form a front line in an instant. Over here, though, the Howlers are suffering from a bit of a defeat, and the Wolfguard. I don't know how I did this, actually, but I managed to get the Wolfguard up behind this unit here. And now with this Longfang unit, I'm actually taking my time. This is something I've really tried my best to get better at, is just taking my time when I position my units. Just getting these Longfangs around the back so that I can get a proper just backstab. And even maybe a little bit of a charge into the backs of these spear hosts. Of course, I didn't know about this unit hiding here right now. So when I do finally get that charge, let's try and look at that. Perhaps not the most fearsome of charges, but we're coming in. Oh, sorry, that's Longfangs, not Blood Drinkers. Whereas over here, the Scouts of Isgelion, or sorry, the Scouts of Gelion, what's Isgelion? I don't know. Are having some good success up against my Wolfguard. With their two blades there, they're no doubt going to be able to parry away a lot of my hits. So, since I have the high ground in this fight, I want to slam them from the back too, so I got another unit of Long Fangs rushing on up to strike them there. And I very quickly kind of realised that I don't want to jump into the jaws of death here. And I'm actually having some good success up on this side, and this is a route in for me. So that became my focus. I put a lot more of my troops up on that side. Now, of course, then I'll have a quick look around. I see that my allies are suffering tremendously from these split shots. And from a quick glance, I'm seeing Waffles' army. Oh, nice. Nice. Good stuff. I see Waffles' army, and I think, right, he's stuck in almost entirely. I need to get stuck in. Over here as well, I don't see... there's still quite a lot of Sons of Feanor, to be honest. But it's pretty messy over there. What are we at generally? Because I'm looking at the percentages constantly during a battle. We're at 43 for 18 right there. But you've got to keep in mind, I've lost so much of my fodder. I'm a big part of that. And I've really not lost a huge amount of my proper units yet. So these men came out of hiding. And they stopped me from getting a really nice surround there. And you can see the Scarahai Longfangs, they were almost wavering for a minute. Well, they were wavering, and they almost went. So I get my next unit of Longfangs, hoping that that's all he's got. And again, another backstab. Surround them. Elven morale is pretty damn good. But just nobody likes getting stabbed in the back. Nobody likes being surrounded. So if I can just make that happen, that's good. Let's have a quick look in, because these trees are making it a little bit difficult. But yeah, you can just see the real immense amount of green that I've got going on around these units. You can see my attempts to sort of surround them, and then I've been backstabbed. But he is almost merging the front line there. Now you can see, you did see a few little splashes of fire, as I actually got my Ash Priests in there. And they unloaded onto the Scouts of Gelion. Now, at the time, I believed, I need to get the Scouts of Gelion dealt with. I need to wipe them out. I need to just get a break there. And no, that's I don't disagree with using my Ash Priests like that, but it was a kind of low quality unit that I did unload some very important ammunition on. And I was kind of hoping to just destroy them immediately or break them. Now that I do see a bit more mobility up here, I pulled my wargs around in the hopes that I can maybe get the wargs up here and start to backstab some people. I do need to be mindful about those stakes. With my Ash Priests now out of ammo, I really just want to get them stuck in. Like, I like to use my elites early in fights, always what I do. But yeah, we can see I've just started the main clash now, as I get my Wolfguard launched up into these spears. Scouts of Gelion coming in to batter away at them too now. But I knew that this is what I took the Wolfguard for. Not so much for killing, but for being a solid unit of line infantry that can hold. Of course, the Chosen will be better at that. Being spearmen, they can really look after themselves a bit more. But what I actually put my spearmen here for, I didn't throw them straight into the fight because I wanted to get them into shield wall. Because I'd like to try and bust through this line, if I can. And I wanted to lead the charge with the Howlers. The next group of Chosen... Actually, sorry, no, that group of Chosen are just getting stuck in. It's the next group of Chosen that I'm wanting to try and form up into a shield wall. These Trappers, of course, they were out of ammunition, but they were still in their spread formation. So I get them stuck back together, and I'm getting more meat for the front line. I really want to fill out that front line entirely. Howlers kind of dilly-dallying, but they're getting moved in. And I kind of liked to mix up the Howlers alongside the Chosen. Really, it's a cool concept of just this little fanatic goblin just swinging away with his two axes next to this bigger sturdy orc with a massive shield and spear. So I wanted to just see how that would work, and I think it's, well, as you can see, it's having some good success on that front line. So over there, as I say, that's a general fallen. I don't really know who that was, though, which side, I can't quite remember. But this was a big worry for me. Now that the Rangers have popped up, or the body piercing units have popped up, we're a good few thousand years before Rangers exist. I know that's me, only half of my force remains now. For 59 for 38. So you can see, even though we are still losing massive amounts, we are rapidly climbing now. And that did provide me a bit of comfort, and it kind of made me think that I was doing the right thing. Now, as I say, keep in mind, I don't know that I'm actually facing off against just about, you know, most of the green elf population right now. So I get my wargs around here, and I'm looking to get like a very low distance charge off, but with the hunters arriving, and the hunters being you know, javelin throwers and spearmen, I don't immediately see that. I read hunter, I read missile, I give them a quick charge, and then I zoom in and I see that they're spearmen. I get out. Pretty bad news, but it could have been a lot worse, and I got lucky. I really did. These poor guys maybe not so lucky, but I got lucky. And I'm getting my wargs on out, because I don't want to lose them. They're an interesting tool that they don't really have a great thing to deal with right now, so I was like, yeah, no, let's keep them. Try and keep them alive. But the hunters really do make a mess of things up on this front line, as once again they managed to turn it into a front line, which isn't what I want. I want it to be a chaotic brawl where I'm backstabbing them all the time. But with the Ash Priests there, they don't really have anything to beat the Ash Priests at the minute. So this is where I take my Ash Priests and I make the kind of dodgy decision to go off and stop these Rangers. Because they are tearing through my front line. Getting right through these trappers and the howlers, and we're dropping like... Yeah, no, I don't regret doing this. I don't... Like, seeing how quickly my men are dropping. I'm getting shot from this side as well. This is exact... Oh, and even the hunters are coming up and over at me. Yeah, and they're coming to the back of the Chosen. Yeah, this is horrendously brutal now. Yeah, I think it was definitely a better idea for me to push harder on the left side. But seeing how much damage I was taking here... Ah, we're seeing a shield wall push. Yep, so that was my shield wall push, and I was chuffed to bits with that. I was like, nice, I busted through these elves easy. And then the Ents came in. I thought they were just normal trees. They were just hanging out. They were just hanging out over here, you know. So my boys, not happy with that. Big unit of them, 51 guys running away like that. And so I've got my Ash Priest sprinting on over, but you see, the damage is kind of already done. By the time the Ash Priests were even like halfway there, the damage was done. I think, to be honest, I shouldn't have done that. Because with the Ash Priests remaining on the left there, I was not just winning, I was winning comfortably on that position. And then I could have taken all of those troops along with the Ash Priests over here. But right now, you know, now that would of course meant sacrificing everything, but everything died anyway. Yeah, so as I say, he rightly so, he gets his Rangers out. A lot of freaking out I'm seeing, you know. These guys just shaking away, but yeah. And then I see the Ents come forward, and I'm like, hey, I've got big old axes, I've got AP, let's get this done. My general leads the charge, I want to go smash some Ents. And I'm able to catch one or two of them. Oh, yep, no, good charge, good charge. Hacked off a toe or something. But, do they? Oh, that's a deeply unpleasant noise. I'm just going to stay quiet for a minute. Oh, shush, announcer. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's unnerving. That's really unpleasant. This poor Ent. This poor Ent is not having a good... And he died fast. So of course I'm seeing how successful that is. I want to keep doing it. I want to wipe out these Ents. But, you know, he's got this unit. A spear host comes over to trap me. And I'm like, cool, okay, I'll cut through the spear host. I can't rightly just run away from them and chase the Ents over to this side of the battlefield. You know, I just can't do that. So I was like, okay, stuff it. Fight the Ents. Fight the spear host, sorry. Whereas over here, my howlers, I'm really starting to outnumber them and get around them. Maybe, because I've got quite a lot of units here. Heshbrekaz's hunters, I've kind of just slammed them in. Again, I could have taken my time and come around the side. I sort of am, actually. Yeah, you're seeing these long fangs. I'm really trying to get us around and just break them. But I'm not going to have the time to do that, because these Ents are coming screaming on in. And they will blitz through me. Whoa. I recently actually rewatched, it was on Amazon Prime. I've got them all on DVD, but I was just looking through some guff on Amazon Prime, and it's on, they've got the Two Towers and Return of the King. I think they've probably got the Fellowship of the Ring as well, but I just saw the 2 towers pop up, and I was like, it's been a really long time since I've watched the 2 towers. I've watched the Return of the King, and I've watched Fellowship of the Ring recently, but I was like, I'm not seeing the 2 towers, let's get it watched. So, yeah, good to see the Ents again. Good old Treebeard and such. But no. And then, of course, I watched Return of the King the next day. So I will probably go back and watch Fellowship of the Ring. Might do that tonight, we'll see. But yeah, so he gets this unit of pretty competent line infantry. Again, I don't really rely on armor. He doesn't rely on armor. So our AP is kind of a bit overkill to each other. But I'm cutting through him, and it's generally just a more skilled unit holding me in place. That's all it is. And because you know, I want to be doing something more important with these Ash Priests. Right now, all I'm really doing is I'm killing mainline units. I'm not winning anything. So I see these hunters, and now, of course, since I'm really starting to get mopped up, he's moving across in force to join his ally. Ah, crap. Ah, damn. Alright, sorry, I missed it. Let's have a quick run through. Orcs came over here. There was actually a unit of archers. Yeah, it was this guy's unit. They ran out here, they were chasing some men, but they weren't broken. And there was only about 10 of them, but I thought, I don't want to get archers behind our lines. So I grabbed my wargs, killed them, and then I walked them carefully on through this line, because I definitely didn't want to lose any of them. They were very important right now. Because my team, Waffles, said, hey, we've got an opening here. So I got my wargs stuck on in, and I'm just wanting to try and wreak some havoc with them. So I pulled off a few charges, really, but the problem is just so many of Finnefar's units have, am I pronouncing that right? House of, nope, that's all the green elves. There we go. Yeah, House of, no, there's more green elves, damn it. I'll find one soon. But yeah, but this was definitely where I was happy with, because these guys are, you know, sturdy ass macemen, and you know they're very important. And there's also a general hanging out there. Ah, that's this guy's general. Yeah, of course. So he comes in to countercharge me because there's just no spears here, and so it's really what you've got to do. But I was chuffed a bit with how much damage I was doing to that unit. Actually, oh, there was no casualties there. There was one. Maybe that wasn't such great casualties that time, but the first charge was good. And but the issue is just there's so many spearmen remaining. You know, let's have a look over here. You know, all of these men are spears. The scouts, you know, these are spearmen here. They're archers, but then as soon as they run out of ammunition, they pull out these massive spears. I think I had accidentally given them a quick charge. I saw them, I was like, oh, they're archers. And then it was once again a situation of, I looked down, I was like, ah, spearmen, no. But by that point it was too late and I lost a few guys. So, what's this here? I'm seeing a few green marks there. Oh, that's my men running. Just being chased off by some hunters. Those were the men that, you know, sent javelins screaming down over me. So my Ash Priests there, they fought really quite well. I was chuffed to bits with the Ash Priests. I think I like them as a unit quite a bit. And I of course wish I was smashing into some Sons of Feanor or something rather than just these lightly armored green elves. But still, it was pretty good. And I did some good damage to this force. But I've only got 5. I've got 5 men left, and they actually seem pretty confident in their victory. Rangers over here, they've still got ammo, which is a big concern. And then over here, with the arrival of this unit here, the Erfin Tower. I'm probably just gonna like sit and just listen to these words being said over and over again and crack it. But with them arriving, that really is turning the tables on me. Like I was quite happy with my blood drinkers just smashing away in some Ents and taking them out. And I was having some success with that. But the Ents are sturdy. They really are sturdy boys, as they should be. And so it was taking me a while. It was a grind. And then with the arrival of these guys, I was getting sliced through. And that's my general taken out there by the banner carrier. Quick backstab there. But that banner carrier will have AP, I believe, because he is part of an AP unit. So, hey, I don't know what the general's armor is, actually. But yeah, so my one remaining Ash Priest just cracking on. Ah, crap. I was hoping to be able to rack up one more kill. What's this? No. It's one ranger got left behind. What happened to all of your friends? But yep, nope. So with that, it really is just this force here. Ah, damn, routing right there. Another unit of Blood Drinkers, big unit, routing there at 90. So, as I say, it's I like the Dominion. I think they're pretty cool. I don't actually like using too many units of cav though, so I don't think they'll ever really be for me. But once I get to know their cavalry, I think what I brought was the cheapest unit of cav. And one of my biggest things, I think, is if I had brought a more resilient unit, I could have done some brutal charging inside. Like what I was doing with my cheap unit of cav, every time a spearman came near me, it was like, he's going to wipe me out. Whereas if I was a more resilient guy, I believe that maybe I could have gotten a charge off on them. But I need to have a look at just the units of wargs that the Dominion has at their disposal. And I'm sure I'll find one that I could use. Because what I normally would do in a field battle, say, is I don't take more than 2 units of cav, of any sort, wargs or whatever. Maybe my Cardlin army I take 3, but 2 of them are mercenary cav, just to grab enemy units of cav. But so it would be tempting to, instead of bringing these cheap units of wargs, to just take my, to find one of the more expensive ones that I like and grab them instead, because I really think that could have, we'll have a look at the kills. I hope I'm not inflating it, and it's just my imagination, but I think I racked up quite a few kills with it. What do we have right now? We're at 96 for 83. So, you've got to keep in mind, there was a time period where we were at 43 for 18, and we did manage to claw all the way back. Now, that was just kind of what you'd expect from the, from facing off against, I would say that's probably what you'd expect when you're facing off as the Dominion against any sort of elf, no matter what sort of battle it is. But against the Wood Elves, I'm good at Wood Elves, Green Elves, yeah, I think you're always going to be struggling. I played as Angband in a 2v2, again, blindness on my team, and Angband is most certainly very, they definitely do match the way that I like to play. So no, I think that they'll definitely be, they're more up my street for like an evil faction. I think they're a bit sturdier, but they do still have those mass numbers, whereas the Dominion, I think they really rely on their wargs. And since me, and I'm saying that that's awesome, but I can't do that. I'm not very skilled with wargs. I'm not very skilled with that sort of like cavalry play. So I think when I'm playing as an evil, and if I really kind of want to have some good success, I'll probably go Angband. But the Dominion was a hell of a lot of fun, and I love their they're so dark. Like I'm a big fan of just reading through the descriptions that the mod team have put on all of these units, and dude, some of this is really unpleasant. The Ashpreys, burning captives before a battle, and then taking the ashes and painting war markings on their warriors. That's some pretty frightening stuff, to be honest. And I think, like, when you look at Angband, it's like, oh, orcs. It's quite an interesting situation. This is pretty cool. Wolfs is really trying to come in for charges, I think. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he was just going to get stuck in, but then he realized he was about to get flanked, so he just grabbed his units and shut them down. I'd say it's something that I love in any sort of lore or any sort of setting is just two-handed spears. I was going to say two-handed spears. These guys are just really long elven swords, but this mod has a lot of two-handed spears, and I just think aesthetically it looks cool. A spear and shield is always solid, I think, but I just do like the idea of like a warrior coming at you with just the spear in hand. Even if in Mordhau, I think it's a revolting strategy. The Ents have now arrived. I was very upset that I was unsuccessful in dealing with them. I'm sure that these guys are... I'd love to think that these Ents are utterly, like, destroyed. And they're just a few stabs away from dying. We might actually see one fall, because they have launched themselves into the Ash Priests. Come on, duders. I'll probably jump up to 2 speed, because as I say, I'm wiped off the field. I've got my Howlers, which... Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, so those 2 Ents just went down from those. The dying Ash Priests are amazing at that. Just chopping down Ents, and probably, as well as that, they'll be good at chopping down Trolls, no doubt, if they were going up against Angband in a fight. I've yet to do an Angband versus Dominion matchup, so that'll be pretty interesting for at some point. I think I definitely, in an open field, I think Dominion might have it, but I think in a siege atmosphere, I just think Angband is very, very well equipped to wipe them out. We're seeing my little green blob move its way forward with, I think, 5 howlers is what I have. Where are they? No, they're coming, they're coming. But no, as I say, I'm not one to like drag out battles unnecessarily, and I would have admitted defeat if I was just a little bit further away. But since I got here and I thought, yeah, stuff it. Like let's just give them the charge. They ran all this way for it, so poor little guys did just get eviscerated by those Urquengi. Oh yeah. So these guys are probably my like one of my favorite looking units so far, I think. Even though I think overall aesthetically, oh damn, it's tough because it's like I love Doriath, but I also really love the Green Elves. I think in terms of just one unit, I think the Arqueni more Gilwa. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I will practice this. I think individually, though, they are my favorite unit. And I think Finnefar's General is, I think, my favorite model in the entire game. Oh gosh, these guys popped up out of nowhere. But yeah, so we'll run through my kills here. So the Ash Priests there did tremendously. I'd love to know how many kills they racked up with their fireballs. I think it was probably about sort of 40, so I probably didn't really use them in too effective a manner. But I was still just chuffed that I got some kills. Both my units of Chosen got slammed into that front line. So they got torn apart by arrow fire, by javelins, everything. And then you compare that to the Wolf Guard that I sent up on the left. Actually, no way is that you, because you got shot to pieces. This must be the Wolf Guard that I sent in to the main line. Because as I say, the other one was down to 60 before it even made contact, so it couldn't have racked up 142 kills. So right, okay, the Wolf Guard actually did really well there. Good for them. But this is something that shocked me. Like, I didn't expect tremendous things from them. But I really, like 4, 10, 14, and 8, I really expected them to do more. Now, for their price, of course, it makes sense that, you know, that is what happened, but I was surprised. And I will definitely be using the Howlers in a different manner next time. You know, as I say, I kind of, in a lot of ways, I guess I use them like Barrow-wights, which is kind of foolish. So, of course, you know, they didn't really do much for me. But yeah, I definitely need to use the Chosen as my kind of holding unit, and then the Howlers, kind of the way that I was using the Blood Drinkers, getting around the side and just coming in fanatically. But yeah, speaking of the long fangs there, we've got, yeah, I'm okay with that kills, especially like 1568. I'm chuffed with that, especially just like cutting through elves. I think is not too bad in a siege scenario. In an open field, I'd kind of maybe want a little bit more, but no, here it's not too bad. The Blood Drinkers though, 139, that's really nice from them. Yeah, chuffed to bits with how they did. I think it was just a higher damage generally, just coming cracking on down. And then also, the Blood Drinkers were generally getting the backstabs, whereas the Long Fangs, and especially the Howlers, were getting the really naff situations. The Blood Drinkers were being given the nice attack positions. So that's one of the reasons. The Trappers kind of surprised me. You know, yeah, so but I guess all of my Trapper fire was going into the front of a shield wall. And I've noticed that, like, it seems to me like shields are doing a really good job right now. If you are just like holding up a shield and you're receiving arrow fire right to your face, like it's going pretty well. So yeah, like it makes sense. 44 is amazing for me for one of my hunters. You know, I'm chuffed with that. You know, they were brought to take arrow fire, so the fact that I actually managed to rack up that many kills with one of them just makes me really happy. And then yeah, my wargs there, 103 kills. Yeah, that's about what I thought. You know, I thought it was about that number. So I'm happy enough with that. I would have loved it if they were more resilient, as I say, and I could have really gotten some good charging off with them, but no, they did good. Dang, Waffles outkilled me with his Ash Priests. I'll go through his kills here. I of course, I don't know exactly what all of these units were used for, but it's a good comparison to see just generally like how his guys did along, you know, up against mine. So his two chosen there, they did very nicely, and obviously, hopefully they weren't fired into as much as mine. Well, actually they were minced into. So yeah, but he still managed to rack up some nice kills with them. The Wolfguard did well. Of course, his enemy, the Finifar, House of Finifar, they would have been a lot more armored than my guys, but not even like that much more armored. So you know, the Wolfguard would be a bit more suited to that. Long Fangs there, I don't think you're ever going to be expecting too much from the Long Fangs, unless you're fighting some really low quality guys. Like maybe once we start getting like human factions in here and stuff like that, maybe the Long Fangs will start to be doing better. But yeah, hey, 129, 124, and then the 94 even. They're both really nice, I think. So then okay, right, the Howlers and the Hunters. I thought they were all Howlers for a second. So yeah, it's kind of the similar kills for his Howlers as he got to mine. And I think, like, we did see his Howlers went in first. So his Howlers were slamming into the front line. And also, he was fighting pikes. So, yeah. And his Hunters, too. Yeah. You know, I'd say I think that we both took our Hunters there to take Arrowfire. He didn't take any Javelins. What did he have instead of Javelins, then? 3 Blood Drinkers. Alright. Well, of course, he had the Mangonel, but I had my Wargs, generally. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, I'd say I think when you're in a siege scenario, I think Javelins are just good to have. Like, no matter the situation, especially if you think the enemy is gonna have like pikes and stuff on the field. So I would always sort of grab them. Let's see, King of the North he was really beating himself up like during and after the battle, and it was like, you did good, dude. You know, you did. Like, nobody's expecting anybody to be good at this right now. We're all very fresh, and you know, this is not like we're walking into this thinking that this is Reforged, and it's not. You've got to play this differently, and you know, so he shouldn't be upsetting himself too much because he did good, and maybe a little bit too quick off the attack. You know, I would have really liked to have mucked about and kind of skirmished a little bit more, but that's okay. It took me, I had to take the very long route to get to my position, so like by the time I finally got there, everybody else, you know, my 2 allies have been sitting there for ages, so that's all that is. And yeah, as Aguilar, you know, I've got nothing really to add from like what Umad said. I think he really rounded it off pretty well. Aguilar did a fantastic job, just like holding back 2 choke points generally, and Uruk, I'm just saying Uruk, sorry, he definitely like maybe should have mixed some stuff up a little bit more, sent some stuff over a bit sooner, but you know, I'd like to think that I went at him hard enough for him to justify keeping everything there, because that's kind of like, as I say, that was what I view as my purpose in sieges. You know, I love to do that stuff. You know, it's not so much about me breaking through, it's about me like, how many men can I hold the attention of, and hopefully how many people can I kill, and then so that my allies over somewhere else can do something pretty great. I'm selfless like that. No, it's just I like to be the hero. Yeah, I like to be the sacrificial hero. But no, yeah. As I say, we'll get a proper first impressions battle done, video done later, and that'll be fine. But in other news, before I shut off, I'm going to be doing Scouts podcast this coming Saturday, and we're thinking about trying to do it every Saturday for the next month. I don't think it's going to be more common than like more long lasting than that, but you know, I think it'll be nice to see if we can get something done, you know, every Saturday for a month. Time is going to be 9 p.m. GMT right now, I think, but we'll get more on that as it comes, and yeah, should be fun. Right, thanks guys.